From Montreal, World Affairs Television Productions presents the Economist Business Challenge. This cross-border knowledge competition will feature the brightest students from North America's top business schools, combining questions drawn from The Economist and case studies presented by the world's leading CEOs, journalists, and politicians. The Economist Business Challenge will test the contenders' knowledge on international economics, politics, and business issues. And now, let's meet the challengers.
Hello, and welcome to the Economist Business Challenge. I'm your host, David Johnston. Today we conduct round 14 of this exciting competition where the top MBA students of North America's most prominent business schools meet and compete. This week we start with the next semifinal round, and today we're joined by a team from Yale and a team from the Schulich School of Business. Prizes in the competition are courtesy of the Economist magazine. The first place team receives a $3,000 scholarship. The second place team receives a $1,000 scholarship, and the student who wins the most valuable player award also receives $1,000. This prize is given to the competitor whose performance distinguishes him or her as an outstanding contributor to the team and to the game. Finally, the individual who demonstrates the greatest team spirit is awarded the Sportsmanship Award. All the participants receive a free subscription to the Economist magazine. Now the format. The business challenge starts with a round of short questions provided by the Economist. The questions focus on international news, economics, business, and culture. Right answers are worth 10 points, and incorrect answers cost 10 points. Once a team buzzes in, it must answer the question immediately or forfeit the question to the opposing team and a 10-point penalty. Part 2 is the problem-solving segment of the competition. Contestants receive a business case question to which they must propose creative solutions. However, now in this round, each university is judged on the same question rather than having separate cases. The teams are given less time to prepare their case studies. In this round, that time is only 15 minutes. We conclude each competition with a final round of short questions, again worth 10 points. Today's case study presenter is Finance Minister, the Honorable Paul Martin, and presiding over the competition today, we have three distinguished judges, Dr. Barbara Muras, Executive Vice President of Davenport University, Mr. Humphrey Rolliston, Research and Promotion Director of The Economist magazine, and Françoise Lyon, Publisher and Editor of Luxuria magazine. So, if everyone's ready, let's begin the competition. The first question is, who seized control of Pakistan's government in October? To the right, please.
Musharraf?
That is correct. What American city, fourth largest in the country, has more people? To the left, please.
Houston.
Correct. Since 1998, what country's state-owned transnational pipeline has burst 14 times? To the right, please.
Nigeria.
That's incorrect. I'll finish the question. Spilling thousands of barrels of oil into its Andean rainforest. The country, please, to the left.
Ecuador.
That is correct. For what country does the U.S. reserve 20,000 legal immigrant slots per year? For what country does the United States reserve 20,000 legal immigration slots per year? It's off the southeast coast. To the left, please.
Cuba.
That is correct. General Musharraf deposed what prime minister of Pakistan? To the left, please.
Sharif.
That is correct. Phnom Penh is the capital of what? To the left, please.
Cambodia.
Correct. The principal conflict in Algeria is between speakers of Arabic and what? To the left, please.
Berber.
That is correct. What is the name of Jordan's king? To the left.
King Abdullah.
That is correct, who inherited the throne from his father Hussein 2 years ago. Wars between Angola, Burundi, and Rwanda, to name a few, have all been fought within the borders of what nation? To the left.
Congo.
Correct. What luxury items makes the sturgeon, which live in Caspian Sea, the world's most... To the left, please. Caviar, the eggs of that fish. Correct. How long does the EU chairmanship by a particular... To the left, please.
6 months.
6 months. George Bush's tax cut pays out roughly how much money over how many years?
1.35 trillion over 11 years.
Right on. I was going to say within 30% would do. You've given it exactly. Who is the president of Colombia? To the left.
Andres Pastrana.
That is correct. The Taliban recently ordered members of which religious group or groups to wear yellow ribbons, supposedly for their own... To the left, please.
Hindus.
And Sikhs.
That's correct. Both are right. Both Hindus and Sikhs. What former leader of an EU country said, were she in office, she would never... Yes, to the left?
Thatcher.
That's right. The Iron Lady would never give up that country's currency for the euro. Margaret Thatcher. Don't go wobbly on us now, Ronald. Allegations of corruption in what worldwide sport include murder, kidnapping, and drugs? To the right, please.
Cricket.
That is correct. My next clue is normally known as a gentle sport interrupted for tea. Very well done. Keen to add an American dimension to its European-based operations, French company Vivendi might acquire what U.S. educational publishing house for around, to the left, please? That is correct. One major concession offered to Palestinians by the Mitchell Report, a blueprint for peace with Israel, is the end, to the right, please?
Freezing of settlement.
That is correct. Settlement building. Well put. Well done. The idea of a stock exchange going public, listing and trading itself as a company, was first put into the left, please? What? Sweden was first put into practice by what country stock exchange? Sweden's. What EU country, always puckish on immigration issues, has extracted from the EU a 7-year restriction on the free movement of labor? What EU? To the left, please.
Germany?
That is correct. Ethnic strife in the 1994 Rwandan genocide centered on conflict between Hutus and left? Tutsis. The Taliban is comprised of students who mostly train in the hardline Islamic schools of what country? To the right.
Pakistan.
Correct. Novaya Zemlya, I don't know whether I pronounced it correctly, Novaya Zemlya in Arctic Russia and Lop Nor in China's Xinjiang province share the dubious distinction of having what function for their respective countries' militaries? What do they do there? An approximate answer will do. To the right.
Nuclear testing.
That is correct. What European Transport Commissioner recently proposed the idea of a transatlantic common aviation area? The name of the commissioner, European Transport Commissioner, proposed the idea of a transatlantic common aviation area. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, it's Loyola de Palacio. In the new proposal for smart sanctions of Iraq, who would ostensibly control and administer money from Iraqi oil sales? Looking for the organization's name. Who would control? Who would administer? It's a fairly obvious answer, actually, when you think about this. To the left, please.
OECD?
That is incorrect, not the OECD. To the right, please.
United Nations.
That is correct, the UN. What country, once economically and socially, though not politically advanced, has seen its living standards drop to a par with Ethiopia's? Yes, to the left, please.
Albania?
That's incorrect. To the right, please. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, it's Iraq. I was going to say endowed with oil but under sanction at the present time. What ethnic group is fighting for a free state in both Iraq and Turkey? What ethnic group? To the left, please.
The Kurds?
That is correct. In 1995, Bill Clinton forced Conoco to withdraw from a plan to develop what country? To the left, please.
Iran?
That is correct. In 1996, 19 Americans died when terrorists blew up Khobar Towers in what country? To the right.
Saudi Arabia.
Correct. America is wary of Russia's helping Iran to build a nuclear power plant because of the model of what country which used foreign civilian help in building this nuclear bomb? The name of the country, please. To the right.
Pakistan.
That is incorrect. To the left. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, it's India. I was going to give a clue. It also starts with I, but I thought that would really be just a bit too helpful. How old is South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond? How old is South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond? I'll accept an answer within 5 years to make it a little easier. To the left, please.
98.
He's 98, right on. CRASH, Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums, is a controversial police anti-gang unit in what? To the left, please.
In LA?
That is correct, in Los Angeles. What New York community activist recently imagined that one day Rudy Giuliani might have to say to him, "Good morning, Reverend Mr." Yes, to the right, please.
Al Sharpton.
That's Reverend Al Sharpton. "Good morning, Reverend Mr. President." Well done. Who wrote the following 19th century verse? I wish I could give it with the gusto. If you're wounded and dying on the Afghan plains, and the women come out to cut up your remains, just pick up your rifle and blow out your brains and go to your God like a soldier. Also famous for East is East and West is West and never the twain shall. To the right, please.
Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. I was going to go on with the author of Kim and the creator of the Iron Ring ceremony for the engineers, etc. What is the name of the main anti-Taliban opposition operating in Afghanistan? To the left, please.
The Northern Alliance?
The Northern Alliance, right on. Though race and religion cannot be discussed there, and speakers must register in advance of speaking, the opening of a speaker's corner, unquote, hits at a slight loosening in the strict society of what tiny Asian state? To the left.
Singapore?
Right on. George Mitchell, leader of an international group seeking peace between Israelis and Palestinians, previously brokered an agreement to the right.
Northern Ireland.
Right. Until last year, Ethiopia and what other African nation? To the left, please.
Eritrea?
That's correct. Eritrea. Meles Zenawi is the prime minister of what country? I may pronounce it incorrectly. Meles, M-E-L-E-S, Zenawi, Z-E to the right, please.
Ethiopia.
That is correct. Ethiopia. John Kufuor, K-U-F-U-O-R, to the right, please.
Ghana.
Was recently elected President of Ghana. Correct. What member country receives the most EU structural funds allocation? To the left, please.
Spain.
That is correct. A correspondent was able to buy a cappuccino and a copy of The Economist at a new gas station in rural Bosnia. The existence of this gas station indicates the improvement slowly taking place in what part of Central Europe's infrastructure? I'm looking for a generic term here, not a geographical origin. What part of Central Europe's infrastructure? It's not a very difficult concept here. To the left, please.
Oil and petroleum?
That's incorrect. To the right, please. Going once, going twice.
Roads and transportation.
Roads is it. Well done. And that ends this first round. And the score on our dancing teleprompter when it ceases to dance, and it's still dancing, and it is no longer dancing, is Yale 120 and York 210. With that done, we now move to the case studies. Preparation time for the semifinals has been decreased to 15 minutes. Each team is awarded a mark out of 225. Each judge may allocate up to 75 points. And joining us now with our first case study question is Finance Minister, the Honorable Paul Martin.
Over the last half of the past century, productivity in England has been continuously slipping. Britain, which once found itself ahead of France and Germany in gross domestic product, now lags behind. In an attempt to return to economic prominence, Gordon Brown, who is a good friend of mine and who is Britain's Chancellor of the Exchequer, that is to say, Finance Minister, presented a plan to set Britain's business environment free by promoting enterprise and fairer competition. In order to create this new American-style get-up-and-go economic environment, he has introduced 3 new ideas to encourage entrepreneurs. First of all, Mr. Brown is reducing the tax rate on small businesses from 23% to 20%. Moreover, he is trying to relieve the value-added tax burdens placed on small businesses by allowing them the option of calculating tax on either a quarterly or annual basis. The second step in changing the economic environment is the awarding of seed money to newly established regional venture capital funds, in fact, £120 million over the next 3 to 5 years. And finally, Gordon Brown is vowing to spend more of Britain's GDP on education, with an emphasis being placed on the free market, pro-enterprise. An obstacle that Gordon Brown is trying to overcome in his 2001 plan is the lack of fair competition in Britain. He has announced plans to crack down on price-fixing cartels by implementing stiffer penalties on executive offenders, jailing instead of fines, for example. Additionally, the government is also proposing to give the Office of Fair Trade wider discretion to investigate complex monopolies. Obviously, Gordon Brown's 2001 plan has many advantages, but many individuals are skeptical of its success. Questions, therefore, are, first, how will Gordon Brown's plan specifically help small businesses? And second, what problems do you notice in the 2001 plan? What additional steps would you take to encourage a healthy and competitive business environment?
Thank you. Advice from our friends at Yale, please.
I will address the first question, and my colleague will address the second. Increased investment in education will improve the capacity in new hires. It will allow for a better, more educated workforce to develop. This will improve the operation and performance of small businesses. Lowering the tax rate will improve liquidity as small businesses come to have more funds at their disposal. This improved liquidity will increase spending, improve efficiency, increased new talent acquisition will result. Additional seed money will allow additional investment in the small business sector. This too will enable expansion, improved efficiency, and new talent acquisition in the small business sector.
However, increased spending on education and the awarding of seed money are long-term solutions which may be mooted if the existing small business sector is not helped through the current economic downturn. a crippled small business sector will be less responsive to its long-term policies. A more fundamental problem with Chancellor Brown's plan is that a more favorable competition regime and freer competition in and of themselves are not sufficient to grow the entrepreneurial sector. These problems are articulated in the June 23rd Economist leader entitled Liberate, Inspire, Meddle. In essence, the problem is that Chancellor Brown is attempting to micromanage the development of an entrepreneurial culture in tradition-bound Britain. His laudable overall goals would be better served by removing obstacles, many of which he himself introduced in his first term, clearing the field for free enterprise and allowing the creative process of innovation and entrepreneurship to take root and eventually flourish.
Thank you very much, friends from Yale. We now turn to our friends from Schulich, please.
Many obstacles are holding back small businesses in the United Kingdom. Reducing the general corporate tax rate will not only help businesses as a whole, but in particularly small businesses. Small businesses typically have much fewer resources in terms of looking for tax loopholes and managing the tax situation. Once again, with the VAT, the value-added tax, small companies spend a disproportionate amount of the resources administrating these taxes. Allowing more flexibility here will greatly allow small businesses to flourish. Seed money will also give small businesses access to capital that they may otherwise have difficulty getting access to. It will also make this capital much less expensive. Education has almost universally been recognized as a prime determinant of prosperity. Michael Porter of Harvard University, in his Wealth of Nations, perhaps articulated it best when he determined that it would be one of the 4 major building blocks of a competitive economy. The key will be as to how best to determine what the nature of the education will be. It should be not just that of educational fundamentals, but also of entrepreneurial philosophies. Implementing the 2001 plan will be very difficult. Why? Because there are major cultural factors at work in the United Kingdom. Providing people with money to start businesses does not mean success. Initiative and drive are much better predicators of success than simply access to money and lower taxes. It is essential that a culture of entrepreneurship be encouraged and rewarded. Risk-taking behavior must be promoted. This is often not the case in the United Kingdom. In British culture, it is often looked at antipathetically when there is success among a member of its society. Entrepreneurship should be a part of the regular school curriculum, and examples of success should be provided. Gordon Brown's policies will increase the number of new entrants into the market as well. Inevitably, some of these will fail. The effect of these failures, both on the economy and of Gordon Brown's initiative as a whole, must be managed. Other economies, such as that of Ireland, should also be looked at for their successes. Ireland once had an economy that had much higher taxes as well, but has managed to endure great and ongoing success over the past 10 years because of macroeconomic policies similar to these. Overall, the potential benefits that could be unleashed both for the economy and the culture of the United Kingdom as a whole are great.
Thank you very much, Schulich. Thank you both for your advice on that challenging question. We now move to the final section of the show. Again, short questions worth 10 points. First one is, the 1988 terrorist bombing of a Pan Am jet is named after what town? To the right, please. Correct. Unlike the policies of his English contemporary Margaret Thatcher in the early 80s. To the left, please.
François Mitterrand?
The answer is wrong. Let me complete the question. François Mitterrand did what with 36 banks and numerous other leading French companies? To the right, please.
Nationalized?
That is correct. What is the TGV? TGV? Yes, to the right, please. That's correct. The Le Train à grande vitesse, the train of high speed. Britain's People's Justice Party used to be called the JFK, which stands for Justice for this minority group living in England. What is that minority group? What is the name of that group? Name begins with K. Britain's People's Justice Party. To the left, please.
Kurds?
Incorrect. To the right, please.
Celts.
I'm sorry?
Celts.
That's incorrect. It's Kashmiris. What British party has a leadership that includes Kathmandu, a ginger tabby, and a platform which advocates making children stand closer together to reduce class size. Now, this is a bit unusual. One of the words in this four-word answer is close to the name of a popular Canadian coin. Let me give it. Going once, twice, three times. It's the Monster Raving Loony Party. What British politician is quoted as saying, quote, obviously it would be good if people didn't have to pay any taxes at all? What British politician? What current British politician? Going once, going twice, going three times is Tony Blair. What British satellite TV broadcaster will become the first digital only? To the left, please. Going once.
Sky.
That's incorrect. We go to the right, please.
B Sky B.
That is correct. B Sky B. Household goods giant Procter & Gamble paid $5 billion. To the left, please.
Clairol.
That is incorrect. I'll finish the question. To buy Clairol from what drug company? To the right, please. Going once.
Bristol Myers Squibb.
That is correct. Described as, quote, large, jovial, and energetic, unquote. What new chairman of British Telecom will need all his energy? To the left, please.
Sir Christopher Bland.
That is correct. Handling about $1 trillion, Fidelity Investor is America's biggest what? To the left, please.
Fund manager.
That is correct. The prices of how many shares make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average? A number here. To the right, please.
30.
That is correct. When the Dow Jones Industrial Average falls 20% or more from its peaks, this is the conventional definition. To the right, please.
Fair market.
A bear market. Since 1991, two-thirds of investment returns in Asia come not from capital gains, but from what? Since 1991, two-thirds of investment returns in Asia come not from capital gains, but from what? It's an equivalent of money. It's a form of money. Yes, to the left?
Dividend.
That is correct. Dividends. 3 years ago, Grow Harlem Brundtland took over the director generalship of what international? To the left, please.
The WTO.
Again?
The WTO.
That's incorrect.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'll have to accept that answer and go to the right, please. To the right? Going once, going twice, going three times. I am sorry, it's the World Health Organization, and I think you would have had it. Unfortunately, one has to sort of cut a line at some point to move to the other side. Who is the president of Venezuela? To the left, please.
Hugo Chavez.
Correct. Amr Moussa, a former foreign minister of Egypt, recently to the left.
The African Union.
That is incorrect. I'll finish the question. We go to the right. Recently became Secretary General of what multi-state group?
Organization of African Unity.
That is incorrect. It's the Arab League. The Arab League, I'm told. Rebels and government representatives recently met in Freetown to go over a peace agreement for what African country? To the right.
Sierra Leone.
That is correct. Non-disclosure of possible evidence by what agency caused a delay in the execution? To the left, please. That is correct, of Timothy McVeigh. 80,000 people briefly shared what distinction as fortunes rose and fell during the dot-com? To the left, please.
They were millionaires.
They were millionaires. Bertelsmann's BOL e-tailer will not go public, an announcement which effectively ceded the field of battle over Europe's online book-selling market to what company? To the left, please.
Amazon.
Correct. As Dirty Harry Callahan, Clint Eastwood popularized the .44 Magnum made by what company? Now face to the right, please.
Smith & Wesson.
Smith & Wesson, correct. Where did America's worst nuclear power accident occur? To the left, please.
3 Mile Island.
Correct. Italy has had 59 governments since when? To the left.
The Second World War.
Correct. The end of World War II. Violence in countries like Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea threatened to spread to Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, and Senegal, creating a crisis in what geographic area? It's the broad area. To the right,
West
please.
Africa.
West Africa. What is the term for Korean sex slaves exploited by the Japanese army during World War II? The term for Korean sex slaves. The word women is the second word. I'm looking for the first. To the right, please.
Comfort women.
Comfort women. Correct. What country has the highest percentage of its power supplied by nuclear? To the left.
France.
Correct. What are the two fastest growing power sources around the world? The two fastest growing power sources. We're looking for percentage growth here. To the
Wind
left,
and
please.
solar.
Again?
Wind and solar.
That is correct. The recent Supreme Court. And that brings us to the end. Now, let's learn a little bit more about today's participants. Let's start with the team from Yale. Now, two of the three of you, and I know, are particularly interested in not-for-profits. Larry, you spent some time in the Peace Corps, and Tim, I think you were attracted to Yale because of its its particular breadth. Tell us, Larry, first a little bit about that interest and how Yale has helped you to extend it.
I developed an interest in working in international development earlier on when I was in a Peace Corps volunteer. And when I was looking around for programs that would help me to further my progress in that career field, Yale seemed like the best option for me.
And what specifically is there at Yale that makes it so attractive?
I think the culture of the university and the School of Management in particular, and the support that it has for future managers of not-for-profit organizations is very attractive.
Jim, your observations on that?
Very, very similar, actually. I worked in Africa for a couple of years and have traveled to Asia and South Asia. I used to be a development worker as well.
Right.
Pretty much attracted to Yale for the same reason.
Joanne, you came from Portugal because you were attracted to the general reputation of that fine university.
Yeah.
And you obviously are enjoying yourself.
Yes, I'm enjoying very much.
Let's turn to our friends at Schulich. Now, have you met the man whose name is given to the school, Seymour Schulich? Any of you?
Not yet.
Well, you must invite him to the school. He's a wonderful entrepreneur. Actually, he's from Montreal. What are the particular themes about the Schulich that attract you? We'll start with you, Rod.
I like the multicultural aspect of both the faculty and of the student body.
Christy?
Well, again, I said it in another show. It's the diversity of the student body.
Right.
I've got a science background, so it's nice to be with students with something other than a business background.
Gada, what have you liked best about the Schulich School?
I've liked the international aspect as well.
All right. You learn most from learning from difference, eh? And from the difference of others, a real community. Okay, I think we now have the calculations from our judges. We have the score. It's Yale 410 and York 470. The Schulich School from York goes on to the finals. Congratulations to that wonderful group from Schulich and to these wonderful people from Yale for a fine, fine contest. And to our audience and to the viewers at home, thank you so much for joining us on the Business Challenge. Stay tuned for next week's program, which is the final of our Business Challenge. Keep on keeping up with the world through the pages of The Economist. On behalf of all of us here at World Affairs Television Productions, we wish you all a good week. Until next time, thank you.
Major funding for the Economist Business Challenge was provided by The Economist, the weekly international news and business publication of choice worldwide. Additional support provided by the Export Development Corporation, providing trade finance and risk management services to Canadian exporters and investors in up to 200 markets. Via Rail Canada. The City of Plattsburgh, New York's Community Development Office, your gateway to the U.S. market. Inisqualin Wines, one of the world's great wines. The Chateau Hotel Versailles, a full-service boutique hotel in downtown Montreal that caters to the most discerning of travelers. And World Affairs Television Productions Incorporated,